All right, everybody, welcome back to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors podcast. This is going to be episode 41, and we're actually not talking about hog hunting. I know the last 3 podcasts have been all about hog hunting. We're moving past that, and now we're going to talk about turkey hunting. My turkey season is not worth talking about because I went one day. I did have a close call. Also screwed up right away. Immediately, I busted a bird off the roost. I'm like, oh, this is great, going great. But anyway, yeah. So I suck at turkey hunting. So I have 2 repeat guests and 1 new guest. So we obviously have Kyle. He might as well co-host at this point in time. We have Kody, who's pretty close to Kyle. And then we got Ronnie, the newbie. So I'm assuming this is your first podcast.
Yes,
ever.
it is.
Yes, gotcha. So Kyle was on the podcast not too long ago and talked about his upcoming turkey hunt that was coming. That has passed. And now I'm going to let one of them take over and set it up. Public land, Central Illinois, turkey hunting, and go.
Sure. I'll take it. So we drew second season. So we got there Friday night. I may or may not have been a little late as usual. When we got there, we got everything set up. We went and sighted in our guns to make everything sure everything was kosher. We were shooting pretty well. It was raining a little bit, kind of overcast. It was everything seemed to be going perfect. Seemed. So we go into that night. We're all jacked up. The testosterone's flowing, the adrenaline's going. We're all excited about it. And we stay up half the night talking about it. I'm gonna go here. We're gonna do this. We went and put birds to bed that night. We knew right where they were gonna be. We had a plan. All we had to do is execute.
Some of us heard birds.
We did. We heard lots of birds, but execution is key.
Ronnie, I don't think you heard one.
I didn't hear a single one.
Friday
First night I didn't hear nothing.
Me and Kody came back. Yeah, we got birds to bed.
Yeah.
And we're like, where's Ronnie? He's like, oh, he's still looking.
Yeah. I went to one spot, sat there for a while, waited till almost dark, and I was like, I don't hear anything. I was like, well, I better rush over to another spot, check it out. Still nothing. It was the worst time putting turkeys to bed I've ever had. It's ridiculous.
Birds aren't real.
Yeah, birds aren't real.
I don't know. For me, I had actually had found some tracks and stuff deer hunting this year. So I actually went back to that general area where I saw those, and sure enough, they were right there, and I put them to bed. So I was felt pretty good about myself. I was like, heck yeah. I was like, they're exactly where I saw, basically saw the tracks. So I was pretty jacked about that.
And this, you guys, it was just you 3, correct?
Yeah.
So team of 3, and you guys applied as a group, right? So either you all
Yep.
got it or no one got it.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
And so we put the birds to bed, and then
So opening morning comes. We all wake up, and guys, make sure your sleeping bag is rated for the temperature that you are going to be sleeping in.
it wasn't that cold.
My sleeping bag was rated for about 50 degrees comfort rating, and it was 30 degrees that morning.
30s or 20s.
This is the,
So I
Easter weekend in April.
I put a blanket down. I was shivering. I woke up and 2.5 hours early and started the fire just so I could. So my morning already started off bad.
Now, I will say this. I do feel for you a little bit because from elk hunting, okay, I would be freezing my butt off. And the other 2 were too that we were with. Kyle is just in his underwear.
With the fence in my tent open.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you not freezing? He goes, dude, I'm sweating. I don't get it. But anyway, so I get it. I feel you.
It was miserable. I woke up 3 times just trying to stay warm. I started the fire. I'm like, all right, I can't do this. I put all my clothes on. I just sat there. I got breakfast going. I waited for these yahoos to get up. We finally got up. We told each other where we're all going, and I had put turkeys to bed the night before. I said, I'm going to slip in here, and I'm going to get the job done and get back before 8 o'clock. I slipped in over the hill. I got in my spot where I wanted to be, got set up. Birds immediately gobbling. 9 o'clock gobbling. Finally, they came down off the roost, and they went the opposite direction. I sat down. I'm like, all right, they're coming. They're going to come. I know they are. They're going to come to me. They're heading straight away from me. So I circle around this grove, and I'm expecting to pop up right on them. I kind of played him a little bit, and the turkey started gobbling right where I was sitting. I left my decoys there. I'm like, you know what? I'm faster without him. I'll get him. I'll get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then they gobbled back over where my decoys were set up. So I was kicking myself in the butt at the moment. So I waddled my butt around back to where I was sitting at, and nothing. I sat there for 2 days straight in the same game, Saturday and Sunday. It was the same song and dance. They outsmarted me as always, and it just didn't work.
Mm-hmm. So day one was a bust for you.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Kyle, how was day one for you?
So day one, so I marked on my Onyx where I thought the birds were when I put them to bed. So I'm looking at the maps, and there's a little meadowy bowl just to the bottom of the ridge that they're on. I assume that they're on. So I'm like, all right, my game plan is to go in there and go to that ridge. So I'm like going in there in the dark. Well, I don't know if I lost signal or something, but my Onyx doesn't work. So I'm like, all right, I think I know the general direction where I'm going. So I go down. I'm walking over there. So I'm like, all right, I'm getting close. Not really hearing anything. And I start going down this path, and there's a bunch of big, nice pine grove right there. And the bowl is like on the other side of the ridge. So I'm like, all right, I got to go up over this ridge, go down in there. Well, as I'm walking, I'm like, pretty sure I'm deep enough into the woods. I just got to walk north. So my Onyx starts, like, I get it working again. It's probably just my phone. But I get it working again, and then I realize that I'm, like, way too far. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, at this point, I'm already late to where I wanted, by the time I wanted to get there. So they start gobbling. I haven't made any noise. They start gobbling, and they're, like, feet away. I'm like, oh, God. So I'm like, oh, okay, they're close. So I'm like, all right, I got to do something. So I'm just like, turn around, I'll just sit down. And then one flies out of the tree, another one flies out of a tree, and the third one flies out of the tree. And they pitch right towards the bowl that I was planning to go set up at. And I was like, damn it. I was like, well, all right, I'm not getting them off the roost. So I just, like, made my way to that bowl. I got my decoys with me, set up some decoys, sat there, started calling through the day. Couple hours go by, and actually get one, maybe not quite a couple hours, maybe an hour go by, and actually get one to respond that sounds like he's still in the roost farther away from me. So I sit there and play with him for, I don't know, 20 minutes. He never comes down out of the roost. Probably now that I look back at it, I was probably making too much noise, and he was just staying there because he thought a hen was right there, so he was no reason to come down. He's like, oh, the hen's still right here. So I think I just did that too much, and, like, looking back, I would have changed that. But never got him. Eventually he shut up. A little bit later, I saw a hen that I scared away and actually scared a feather out of her butt. I had it. I'm like, ah! It was still warm when I picked it up. I was like, well, at least, I saw a turkey today. I'm like,
coming home with something.
It was like, I'm coming home with something. So that was my day one. Went back to camp.
Yeah. I got up and went over to one of my spots that I checked out. I heard gobbling across the road, back behind me in the fire lanes. And I decided I wasn't going to go across the road. I was like, well, these ones sound more mature. I'll go this way. As soon as I got over there, everybody shut up. I was like, okay, whatever. They're just moving around. It'll be fine. No. They just disappeared. And if we want to talk about rookie mistakes, Mr. Gravitt decided to use his flashlight.
Yeah, for
When did we
everybody,
was that day 3?
that
You,
was
brought it
day
up?
3 that I figured that out. That I thought, it's green. No, they can't see it. No way, deer can't. They can't. That's a lie.
No,
They can see it very well, and they busted me every time I walked in because of that.
why.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I was like doing research on that before, and there wasn't like a lot of places that like defined an answer, but the forums, like where I found the answer, where there were just people after people say, use the moonlight, use the moonlight, use the moonlight.
I
I'm
agree.
Like, why isn't this to me, it's like, this isn't written down anywhere. Like, why isn't no one talking about this? Like, it wasn't, I was like looking
Well, now we know.
Yeah, we know.
no light needed.
Yeah, don't use a light.
No, day 2, that sums up my day 2. I pushed hard. I got zealous and walked in. I said, I know right where they're at. Going right to them, and they were gone. They
They
flew.
just flew away from you, didn't they?
Yeah, it was it sounded like a hurricane going off in the middle of the night. I'm out there at, an hour before the sun's up, walking out there, just creeping, being nice and quiet, not stepping on anything. And then the whole flock of turkeys just disappears. You just hear it. It sounds like an F5 tornado coming through the pines, and they're just gone. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going back to the truck.
Yeah.
To plan B.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's day 2 for you.
Yeah. Well, the night we got back on the first night, I was texting a buddy. He goes, go as far south as you can out there. And he says, just sit there and listen. He goes, just check it out, whatever. I was like, okay, well, I'll do it. I went out there, still didn't hear any birds. I was like, well, I don't think there's any here. I went out that morning, and I had went way back there before the sun even decided to come up, and the turkey started gobbling towards the road. I'm like, no. That's like, there ain't no way. I start walking back. I get a couple hundred yards from the road. I let out a yelp. There's one behind me. And I'm like, why didn't you talk earlier? So I get down there, set up, get my decoys out, lose a stake somehow.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah. And then he comes up from nowhere, and he's like 65 yards, and I'm just like, still a little far. I'll wait. And he does a big circle around me, goes up the next ridge, disappears. I'm like, okay, whatever. 2 more start gobbling, not too far away. I waited, nothing. I said, I'm going back to camp, and I'm going to have me some shame supper. Shame supper. Yeah.
Kyle.
So the end of night 1, after seeing the birds there, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go back, try to put them to bed. I'm assuming they're still there. I didn't really bust any out or anything, so I went back, and sure enough, I heard them again, putting them to bed, and I pinpointed a better, pretty much the same kind of pines they were in the next morning, so I had a better idea where to set up. So I was pretty hopeful going into day 2. So day 2, go out there in the morning, get out there plenty early. I set up on, there's a intersection, a 2-pass that they have out there. So I set up right on the intersection there. Sounded like, I don't know, maybe 50 to 80 or so yards away from the birds. So I'm there. So I set up, and sure enough, they start going off in the morning. Now, learning from what I did the first day, I yelped a little, but then I just shut up the rest of the morning. So I got them to respond. They knew I was there, but I also started hearing hens with them too in the morning. So I was like, all right. It's like, maybe they'll come over here, maybe not. So those birds, half hour into the morning, I'm set up. I got my decoy set up in front of me, and those birds pitch down away from me to the south. They're gone. I hear them. Hear them respond a little bit later. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're really far away now. It's like, dang. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right. And I'm still yelping, trying to hear, what direction they are, thinking, maybe it'll be better tomorrow. Maybe I can get a jump on them. And a bird gobbles, still in the roost, to the north of me, not too far away. It's the first time I heard him. I haven't heard him, I must have walked right by him coming in. Didn't spook him or nothing. He was just a late riser or something.
Yeah.
So I get response from him. So he pitches down, and I don't see him pitch down. I don't see him out of the tree, but I hear him, and he's getting close. And he's responding to me pretty well. I'm sitting there yelping and using a pot call because that's pretty much the best thing I've practiced with. So I'm using that, and he pitches down. He's in the area, and I got my decoy set in front of me. Well, where the intersection is, it's the bottom of a hill. So the hill kind of slopes down, and then it flattens out, and then I'm sitting there facing up the hill in the corner in the woods there, just in the trees. And I see him up to the right of me, halfway up the hill, and he just sticks his head out a little, so I can kind of just barely see his head. I don't have a shot. I got some trees in front of me in the way. He's just looking at the decoys.
What kind of decoys do you have?
Hen and Jake. So I got both of them out. So he sees the decoys, does the long neck thing, turns around and walks right back in the woods. Didn't care about him at all. He's like, yep, not messing with those. Walk right back in the woods. I'm like, dang. So he kind of hangs out there a little bit, and I'm like, think my chance is done. I'm like, oh, that was cool. Like I called him in pretty close. Like, had some trees in my way, but he was in shooting distance. So I'm like, all right. So I wait for a little while, half hour, 45 minutes go by. So I start calling again, see if there's any more birds in the area. Well, he's still in the area. He's just in the woods up there. So he's responding, he's gobbling. I'm calling to him, he's gobbling. So he's up there, and I'm fighting with him for, 10, 15 minutes of him gobbling and just hitting, sounds like he's searching. Like he didn't know where the decoys were. But sounds like he's just searching. So I call him back in. And when I hear him getting closer, I'm thinking he's probably going to come out the exact same spot he did last time. So I reposition, I slide to the left, and I get it aiming right where he came out. Sure enough, I call him in. He comes out, and he runs across, full speed. Runs across and stops. So there's a woods here, path, woods, stops right on the edge of the woods. I'm like, I see him there. Don't have time to range or nothing. He's right there. I'm thinking he's going to run in the woods. So pull the gun up, put it on his head, pull the trigger. As soon as I shoot, he flaps a little, goes about 5 feet in the air, then comes right back down, and then runs into the woods. It's like, well, I missed. It's like, dang. And so, gave it a little bit of time. Then I went up there, looked around, looked for blood, looked for feathers, didn't see nothing. Sure enough, I'm pretty sure I just shot too low on him.
Yeah. Did you ever range it afterwards?
Yeah, so I ranged it afterwards. What was it?
43, something like that.
It's like 45 yards uphill.
Gotcha. And I know you patterned your gun. Do you know if you knew it was 45 yards?
So at 30 on the wattles, I was hitting the head pretty good. So I figured I'd put it right on his head and shoot. And I still think it was too low because I don't know if that was just uphill in the angle. But after doing some looking around, looks like you could see in the ground where a bunch of shot went. It looked like it might have been low. I'm thinking I might have got him, but I don't know if it was enough to be fatal. Probably not. Probably not. Me and Kody came back later and looked around. We didn't see nothing, and it gets super thick right there. There's 1 foot, 2 foot pines just peppered through there.
Yeah, first 25 yards in there was
so,
you could manage it, but after that, no.
I'm bummed that I missed, but I'm grateful I had the opportunity, and I never had so much fun in the hunting situation where we're just sitting there and talking to him and getting him to respond and calling him in twice, and I was just
for a new turkey hunter.
And this is my first time hunting. I don't know if first time turkey hunting. Last year I went and sat with Kody a little bit, but I didn't actually hunt. So this is my first time hunting, so I was pretty pumped.
Yeah.
That was my second day, so much better than my first day.
So day 3, we'll save Ronnie for last on day 3 because he's got some action here. But
those birds aren't real.
So Kyle, just go ahead if you want to go.
Oh, okay.
Go, Kody.
So day 3, now thinking that so day 2, the night, put the birds to bed. I figured I'd go back there because I remembered the birds that with the hens, they flew south in the morning. So I'm like, I'm going to go see if they're there. Sure enough, they're right back where they were. So I had me being there whole time and shooting. They'd been far enough away when I did that. Didn't really do anything to them. So I got them pinpointed the night before. So I put them to bed. So I go in the next morning and I'm trying to figure out where to set up. I'm thinking, they flew south, so I just started kind of walking down there, and I find another path on the backside of this pine grove. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna set up on this path. It's south, same direction they pitched down. I go, so I'll get in there. I'm gonna try and get as close as possible. I'm gonna be super quiet. So I sneak in there very slowly. I go pretty early, so I sneak in there pretty slowly. I get in there, I get my decoy set up, I got it in front of me about, I don't know, probably 30 yards. So I set up. Sure enough, they start going in the morning. Once again, I didn't want to call a lot to them, so I just called the little, got them to respond. Well, the first thing that actually responded was the hen. So she responded first, and then they were gobbling to her, and then I'd do a little yelps, and she'd respond. Well, I was reading something or I heard something on a podcast where they say sometimes you can mimic a hen, and if they got hens, you can make the hen mad, and you can get the hen to come in, then you can get the gobblers to follow. So I was playing off the hen then, so everything she did I would mimic, and if she got louder or made more noise, I got louder and made more noise, and it was pretty cool. So we kept going back and forth for about 5 minutes or so. So that happened, and I just shut up. So they pitch down. Sure enough, they land just on the edge of the path. So I hear them pitch down. So they're probably 70 yards in front of me. They start coming out on the path. I see them. I'm on one of the lines of opposite on the other side of the path in the woods. Got the decoy between me and them. And sure enough, they come out and they start worming in the ground. And then one of the toms strutting, just strutting his butt off, 70 yards, just back and forth, this way, not towards me at all, just back and forth. The other tom, just walking around, he starts strutting. They take a few yards towards me, but wouldn't come any closer. Tried to call him in a little bit without being seen, obviously, and without moving much. Couldn't get him to come any closer, about 10 minutes or so. Then they just headed more south. So, and then that was the only action I had that day. Went around for a while, heard some more gobbles, but never got on any other birds that day.
You killed something this day, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I definitely killed something. I clobbered it. The whammy shells took care of it. So it rained that night, and I thought this is going to be perfect. Me and Kyle went out that night, and it was like 8:15. It was dark, and we were at a spot, and I gave out the loudest owl hoot I could muster, and I got them to respond. There was 4 or 5 just hammering every time I would hoot. I said, I know where they're at. I've hunted there before. I'm gonna get it. So it rained that morning. I get out there early. And I walked down this steep hill, sliding, falling on my butt. I get down to the bottom. I said I'm about 100 yards from them, 150. I said I shut my light off, and I just walked through the thickest, nastiest stuff you could think of to get to them. Briar stuff tearing my clothes. It was rough. So I get within 80 yards of them, and I get set up on this oak tree. I think I got plenty of cover, and I thought to myself, I got 2 days left. I said, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. So I left my decoys where they were, and I moved in a little closer. I'm within 50 yards of them, maybe closer. So all morning, I've got really good footage. They were just gobbling like crazy. So there ended up being 5 or 6 in this little area, and there was one behind me that I never heard. I never heard him respond. He gobbled one time on the limb, and that was it. He flew down first, and I never heard him again for 20 minutes. And the one in front of me that I was after, he flew down, and he went away from me where I was going to set up. I was like, oh, man, I just blew it. I said, I'll just wait. So I sat there, I picked up my pot call, and I just lightly started purring. They went nuts. You could hear them drumming, and they were close.
Yeah,
So the one,
if you're hearing them drum,
they should have been dead bird, but he was drumming. He was all fired up. He gobbled and gobbled and gobbled and gobbled. So I think I said, man, they're gonna come on my left. I said I've got to adjust here, and I had a branch that was laying, a dead tree laying down. I said that's perfect gun rest. I said I'm on this little sapling, but I said I got this. So I set my gun on top of the sapling that was falling over, and I inched my way over. And I didn't see him at the time, and I looked over this hill, and he's like 60 yards out, and I could see him. And I hear gobbled, and I'm like, well, he's dead. And this is it. I'm going to get it
real
done.
quick before you start, Kody and Kyle came out and patterned their shotguns at my house, and I was watching Kody hammer perfect rounds at 70, right? You hit all the way at 70.
Yep.
I mean, he was cornfield, but like at 70 yards, he's just drilling the target. Like, I was impressed. Continue.
Well, he's 60 yards max. So I kind of shifted my weight and I brought my gun up, and it was a rookie mistake. He busted me. You can hear him. He putt and he took off. He's about 55 yards. He ran up the hill and he's sitting there strutting around. So I use my mouth call and he hammers back, sticks his neck out, and I let him have it. I gave him all 3.5 inches, so I thought. And he flies away and flies back to the tree that he just came from. I'm like, what the hell? So I shoot him again, and I tried to nail. At this point, he's probably 80 yards away, and I just given him a Hail Mary. I'm like, befuddled on what the hell just happened. I'm like, he should have been dead. So I'm pissed off. At 7:30, I called it a day. I said I'm done. I went and packed up my decoys, and I'm like, I said, fuck this. I'm done. I'm pissed.
It's not long enough. Everybody's done this.
No, I was mad.
Just get pissed and leave for the day.
But the problem was I go pick up my decoys and I call Ronnie. I'm madder than hell. He sends me a picture and I'm like, sweet. So awesome. I said, now it just makes salt to the wound. So I go pick up my decoys and I hear a gobble again, right from the same spot that those turkeys that just flew to. I'm like, all right, I sat back down. I waited an hour and a half. Not one gobble, not a cluck, chirp. They were still on the roost. So I said, I'm just going to inch my way. I'm not going to stand on the edge of this tree line right here, 20 yards in front of me, and see what I can see. I busted every single turkey out of there. Every single one of them was like, hey, look at this dumbass. So at that point in time, I unloaded my gun. I grabbed, my decoys were already in the bag. I grabbed them. I said, you know what? I said, I'm wet. My ass is wet. I'm pissed. I'm going back to camp.
So, I don't think you specified. What did you shoot?
Well, so in the footage going back, when we got home, I said, I was using my GoPro, and I said, something's not right here. Mm-hmm. So I went back on the footage, and I was following the turkey with my gun. Excuse me. And I was following him. Like I said, he's 55 yards. And when I shoot, you can see my GoPro. You can see the sapling in front of me just fall over. like I rocked.
It looked like he got struck by lightning.
I rocked that 2-inch sapling. I rocked his world. He's no longer there. I guarantee it.
How far was the sapling?
About 5 yards.
There's where your pattern is.
Oh, it center punched it. Like, yeah, that turkey is. He was praying to the turkey gods there, and he got that one. He got that one on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that tree was just. And I'm like, there's no way. I said, I know I can make that shot. And just what happened? Mm-hmm. I looked back and I'm like, oh. I sent it to Kyle immediately. I said, I feel like a dumbass.
I was like, I think you hit that tree, bud.
Yep. After watching it about 30 times and crying a little bit, yep, that's exactly what happened.
You want to talk about our awful breakfast that morning?
Oh,
Was that the same morning?
yes.
That's the same morning.
Yeah, but that was after your events, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, go ahead and do your
okay.
spiel.
Well,
We'll get to that.
I'll fill in that.
Well, I get out to the same spot that I had tried to put turkeys to bed that night, or the night before, and I had seen that turkey that morning. Mm-hmm. And I went and put him to bed that night. He actually talked to me, and at first I'm like, oh, he's only about 120 yards, whatever. I can find him in the morning. Mm-hmm. And I sat there and waited a little bit later, and it sounded like he moved. I'm like, I better just walk up there and get a little closer to see what's going on. And it sounded like he didn't move at all. Okay, well, I'll come back in the morning. I get out there that morning, and I get on this fire lane, basically, and wait. Didn't talk for the longest time. And then finally he gobbles, and I'm like, well, how'd he get over there? I was like, he's hopping trees on me. I was like, well, I guess we'll plan for this a little better. And I put my decoy out right in the middle of the fire lane, and I walk 35 yards up, and I go about 5 yards in the timber. I can still see my decoy. I know where he's supposed to be. I was like, okay. It's the same lane he came down to get to me the morning before. He gets down, and it's like he flew straight west of me, and I'm like, that's not gonna do. I was like, that's just not gonna do. I call a couple times, and he turns around, he comes back that way, and he's on a different fire lane that curves around, and I know where he's at. I'm like, well, this might work out. I listened to him for over an hour, or not an hour, about half hour.
It felt like an hour. I bet,
It felt like an hour. About half hour, he's sitting there drumming, and I cannot see him to save my life. And I'm like,
like the
where do I
boogeyman.
look? It's like, where do I look? He hammers a couple of times. I'm like, he's going way over here. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just turn over here and wait. And it sounds like he's over here. I'm like, okay. Finally, he's on the fire lane, my fire lane, and I can't see him for the longest time. And he gets about 20 yards, and he's behind a tree. I can't see him. I'm like, okay, he's going to come out on this side, and I'll be ready. And I'm waiting. And nothing. And I look to the other side of the tree, and he's already walking back. I'm like, no. Just hold on. He gets to a pocket about that big. And I'm like,
About 10 inches.
Yeah, at about 40 yards. And I'm like, okay, woo. And he just rolls over, flops. I'm like, okay, we're done. First time public land hunting for turkeys. This is great.
Yeah.
I'm like, hopefully everybody else got something.
No.
I take
we
pictures. I send him out. He calls me. I'm like, where's your bird? It didn't go so well.
What I should have done is I should have grabbed the tree and I should have took harvest pictures with my tree.
Yeah,
That's what I should have done.
Wrap your tag around it.
We could have measured it, see how long it was.
I guarantee you I could have won the longest snood and the long bird. I guarantee.
Yeah, you'd have had the longest beard. I said mine only had 1-inch spurs, and I think he had a 10-inch beard.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
If you took the Tom though. Right?
Yeah, it's Tom.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, it's Tom.
Yep. You get guess on weight at all? If you had to guess.
I'm gonna say he was pushing 25
It was a good
pounds.
bird.
He's
Good bird.
He's a heavy
He was
bird.
heavy.
Yeah, it's a good bird.
Yeah,
Deal. Eat him yet?
yeah, he's gone. The only thing that's left is legs.
Mm.
We're gonna boil them and make turkey noodles.
Ooh, that'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good.
Invite me over.
So speaking of food, what about this breakfast? I'm curious.
So, I had this deal. I'm like, I want biscuits and gravy. And I said, that sounds great. And we were all there the night before we went home for Easter, and we all came back, and I forgot milk. I said, I'll grab it. My son's got a bunch, and I said, I'll just bring some. I forgot. So we had half and half. And I said, well, half and half will work. It was French.
No, it was just
French
just
vanilla.
coffee
vanilla.
creamer. It wasn't
Coffee
half and half.
creamer, yeah, it
it
wasn't
was
half and half
French
at all.
vanilla,
Same difference.
the cafe or coffee, whatever.
Yeah, coffee made or something.
I've
Coffee
seen
made
people use half
creamer.
and half, and it
Oh.
works. So I figured that this is similar. This will be fine.
I had only brought it for my coffee. For me.
Uh-huh.
Not for biscuits and gravy.
And we didn't have a way to cook the biscuits either.
No,
Yeah, no,
but
that
biscuits
turned out really bad.
They burned really quickly, and they're really gooey in the middle. It wasn't any fun.
No.
So anyway, we use this French vanilla coffee creamer with our whole hog sausage and mix it in. And Kyle's just like, he tastes it. He's like, what the hell? He's like, where's the seasoning at? So I give him my little 7-sided seasoning deal, and he's just violently shaking the shit out of this
I
thing.
tried my best to get
As
that,
much salt as
to
he
get
could put in
that
there.
French vanilla flavor out of that gravy.
Pepper
It
didn't
would
help.
not come
Oh,
with
it,
it.
no.
it had every seasoning we had on person in it, and it was edible if we were starving.
And that 6-sided, 8-sided spice shaker thing sucked ass.
Yeah.
I couldn't get anything out of
No,
that thing.
it
I
was awful.
beating it, and I was like, yeah, it's great. It's got 8 spices that stay in the jar.
It looked like he was performing a felony over there to that thing. It was
beating the crap out
it
of
was
I was
violent.
like, all right, we're gonna put some curry in this. We gotta spice this up. I'm like, it's
Ugh.
sweet. We're gonna make it spicy. It's gonna taste good.
No.
So we
It did not.
get the biscuits. We scrape the burn off. It was a joke.
We ended up doing we tried to use a double boiler method, which kind of worked a little bit.
a little bit.
So we
If
had
we
2
would've thought of
pots.
that first.
Well, that's the second round of biscuits, and
Yeah.
it kind of worked.
yeah, a little
So
better.
we got the biscuits done ish, and we scrape the burn off of them, and we tear our biscuits up, and we get this gravy, and it looks good. I mean, the color's good. I mean, it looks like biscuits and gravy.
Visually was amazing.
Oh, it looked great. I'm like, I was salivating thinking of it. You put it on there, and I took the first bite, and I'm like, oh god. It was the sweetest thing I have ever ate in my existence.
I don't know what I would even try to pair that with because it was not a good combination whatsoever.
Yeah.
I like my coffee and I like biscuits and gravy, but I'm not ever doing that again, guys.
It was something.
I called Kody before he left Canton and was like,
I'm pretty sure.
"Do I need
did,
anything?" I said, "You need milk." Okay. Didn't come back with milk.
Too. No.
And the thing was, is we had a Dollar General 10 minutes away that we could have went to. We were just like,
I did not know about that.
In Kyle's defense, he didn't know about it. Ronnie and I did.
I might not have thought about it, but I knew it was there.
You see what I was dealing with.
We should have just went to the restaurant and had breakfast.
Should have.
Yeah.
So, breakfast. No breakfast that day. At least not that.
No,
we
totally
ate
down.
it.
You ate
We
It
were
just
hungry.
wasn't good.
No, we don't quit around here. We ate it.
Yeah.
Barely.
It was good sausage.
My
I
stomach
think we
hurt
tried
for
using
3
bacon
days
grease
after.
too to try to fix it up, and
Well, no, the first thing to use, but when he didn't bring milk, was like, "Oh, we'll just use bacon grease to make gravy." That didn't fucking work.
no.
We did not have enough bacon grease to even consider this.
Bacon
Chef
flavor.
Boyar Kyle just couldn't work with the ingredients we had.
No.
I made it into gravy, just not good tasting gravy.
Yeah.
Who had the instant biscuits gravy on our elk hunt? Somebody.
I
had.
did. It was
That's
amazing.
That's what I thought. Like somebody
Peak
did.
refuel biscuits and gravy are on point. I would recommend those to anybody. I
We
eat
went
those
to-
every day.
We went to Bass Pro Shops. What, Saturday
They're
night?
good.
Yeah, Saturday Kyle went and did family stuff, and me and Ronnie took a venture to Bass Pro.
Yeah.
I bought a
Couldn't buy
blanket.
milk.
I forgot to buy.
Did not get
I bought a blanket
Couldn't buy
to
milk.
line my air mattress so I wouldn't freeze to death. And we bought some of those.
freeze dried meals.
Yeah, Mountain House. I think they were Mountain House.
I couldn't-
Some
yeah.
Bass Pro
Yeah, that's
brand.
usually what it's held with.
They weren't bad. I did not have one that was awful. I
No.
would eat.
No.
He did. I did.
No. Those ice cream sandwiches
Oh,
were the
those were
worst
the nastiest things
I
I've
have
ever
ever
eaten.
had. It's like eating styrofoam.
Yeah, no.
And not the good
That
foam
wasn't
either.
worse tasting than the gravy, but the texture was much.
Oh, the
Oh,
texture
God.
is like it was no bueno.
I
Turning into
tried
a
letting
packing
it
peanut.
get wet and, mush them. No. Mm-mm.
I put it in the cooler and stuck it down in the water. I'm like, it's get cold. It'd be just like ice cream. The cashier obviously had no idea what she was talking about when she said how amazing they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's full of
They
shit.
recommended them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's out of her mind.
I got the
She walked out, she's like, got him.
I got
Yeah,
mid chip too.
Those dumbasses.
Not good. The biscuits and gravy one was good though.
The
'cause
biscuits
I
and
did try
gravy
that.
was phenomenal.
And then I got the beef and noodles.
Beef and noodles wasn't bad.
No, it was bad.
I didn't mind it.
No, I was getting some stuff that had not mixed with the water and.
We were supposed to have pork chops the first night. What happened to
Yeah,
that,
what happened to
Kody?
the pork chops?
Well, I was running a little behind because I was working that day. I'm like, oh, I gotta go. So I threw everything in the cooler, still frozen. So everything we had was
Still frozen.
Still frozen.
Yeah. We'd been talking a week before that. He goes, well, we're going to leave at like noon, get camp set up, and everything else. I'm like, all right, sweet. Well, I got a steak lunch at work for a good job, I guess. And I get done at like 12:50, and I'm calling them, and I'm like, where you guys at? Oh, we're not even close.
I hadn't even left yet.
No, I had went to town, did some stuff around town, waited still, and
I left at noon.
you might have left
He
at noon,
didn't.
but you were. No, no, you were.
You two were
yeah.
there on time. I was
Yeah,
not.
I was
you
there
were
on
not.
time.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
not.
me and with him.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
All right, so Ronnie killed out day 3. Now the last day, right? Day 4. All right, who wants to go first?
I'll take it.
All right.
So day 4, I was a little heartbroken. I said, you know what? I said, I got to do something. I said, I gotta come up with something. I gotta figure something out. So I went to a new spot that I had deer hunted before, and I knew there were turkeys in the area. And I went back there, and I stood at this intersection, and these owls, I don't know if they didn't like me or I smelled funny, but they did not like me standing there at all. There's probably 4 or 5 of them just going ape shit. They would not shut up. And these turkeys around there, like, what's going on here? And they started just gobbling everywhere. So I heard one. I said I pinpointed him. I said I know about where he's at. I got all the way to where he was, and I sat down. Nothing. Not a gobble. I sat there till 8 o'clock. Not one gobble. He didn't. Nothing. So I got up. I went about 300 yards to the southeast, and I seen 2 turkeys. So I got sat down, and they both had hens. I tried everything I could to get them to come in, and nothing. So back to where I sat originally, the turkey finally got off the roost and came down and started gobbling and wanted to play. So I paid Chase the Tom for 3 hours. And it was about 10:30. I said, I'm done with this. I'm tired. My feet hurt. I said, I'm not playing Chase the Tom anymore. So I said, yeah, this is it. I said, I had a good time. I had good encounters. So I said, I've had a good time, so I'm going to call it a day. And I ended it on that.
Mm-hmm. Kyle?
So, I put the same birds to bed that night. They were back in that pine grove. So I'm like, all right. So I'm going to get them this time. So, all right. I got this. I'm like, all right. Last time they were just too far away. I was thinking, okay. So I kind of set up in the same spot because, the day before, they flew right down to me. So I'm like, all right. Set up in the same spot. So I'm in the same spot. Might even be a little closer to them. So I'm pretty close. I would say I'm probably closer than 50 yards from them. Not knowing that exactly when I was going in the morning because they weren't making any noise. But get in there, and they start busting off in the morning, gobbling, hens with them. But I'm hearing, I think I heard 3 toms grouped together with 2 hens that sounded alike, and then farther away I heard another tom. So I got four gobblers going. So I'm like, all right, there's more birds now. I'm like, all right. Just got to call in one. Should be easy, right? No problem.
No.
So, all right. So I get them set up and, calling back and forth with them a little bit. I'm not calling a lot. Get them fired up, get them responded. So morning goes. 2 of them pitch down. They go right over me. I didn't see them, but after I was calling a little bit, they responded, and now they're on the other side of the road. Damn. They probably just flew right over me. Like, okay, they're over there, but they're not too far away. They sound pretty close. So I'm like, all right, maybe I can still call them in. So do my best to call them in. I'm sitting there. I forgot. So I set up a little different. So I kind of set up aiming. I was about 20 yards to the spot where they pitched down the day before, and actually set up like a little leaf blind in front of me, and I was sitting right there, and I was facing right of it. Because another problem with the morning is the way you sit. You got to sit hidden enough they can't see you, but then you got a lot of limbs in your way to shoot. So I kind of 45'd out, so all the trees were behind me, but then I made this makeshift blind in front of me so they couldn't see me. So I was sitting there. So they had pitched down in front of me. So they're off to my left, and it sounds like they're wrapping around me and actually walking past me. So I'm like, dang. So I actually had set up the decoy behind me, thinking they would be hung up again and not be as close to the decoy. So the decoy's back behind me about 30 yards, thinking maybe they hung up again and I'd have a shot. So it sounds like they're heading towards the decoy, which doesn't make any sense because I'm calling where I'm from, but they can't even see the stupid thing. So they're heading towards there, so I swing around, I reposition, so I scoot down, I get a little closer to the decoy, and they stop gobbling, they shut up. Dang. They didn't come out of the woods. Just about that time, the birds that I heard before that were farther down, they start gobbling again. I've already moved closer to them after I moved for those birds. So I'm closer to them. So I hear them gobbling. They don't really sound like they're moving, so I scoot down towards them a little closer. Well, then they start making noise. They start moving. So all right. Sure enough, it sounds like they're doing what the other birds did. They're gobbling past me. They're even with me, and now sounds like they're past me. Like, son of a bitch. So I scoot back down to where I was before. So I'm like, all right. Now, I'm thinking they're going to come out maybe between me and my decoy, and I think I just set up just the hen. So I just set up just the hen. So I'm thinking they're going to come out between me and my decoy. So I'm about 30 yards away from the decoy, back kind of where I was sitting to start, and they shut up. Well, I see down the path, here comes a lone hen out by herself. Clear like 80 yards away from me, 50 yards on the other side of my decoy. I'm like, dang. I'm like, where'd they go? I'm like, they were right there 5 minutes ago. So I'm like, I don't know how. I'm like, well, maybe the gobblers are still over there. Maybe the hen's just walking off by herself. But she was alone. So she comes out, hangs around for about 2 minutes, walks across the path, walks into the woods, don't see her anymore. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, just waiting. Well, I can kind of hear the gobblers start gobbling a little more. So I'm like, all right, they're still kind of over there. I'm still in a good position. So next thing you know, right where the hen came out, 2 gobblers and a hen come out, even though they were gobbling right where I needed to be. They were right there, but somehow they teleported from where they were to where that hen came out without making any noise. So they come out there, so they're 80 yards away from me. Had I stayed right beside my decoy where I had moved the first time, it'd have been 30 yards away from me. I'd had a great shot. Nope, so they're like 80 yards. They're in the middle of the path. I can't move. So I'm just, sitting there, gun up, hoping they come in closer, trying to call a little bit if I can. They start coming in a little ways. Well, the hen walks right up to my decoy. So she's 30 yards. She's just looking at it. She's just making eyes with it, playing staring contest, checking it out. The whole time she's doing that, both toms are about 20, 30 yards behind her.
My son is not happy.
They are literally just strutting back and forth for like 5 minutes. They're just strutting back and forth. Won't come any closer, won't follow the hen to the damn decoy. They do that for 5 minutes. They eventually get bored, go off into the woods. So I had moved like 4 times playing, where's the bird? Where's the bird? Where's the bird? And I just couldn't get set up in the right spot to have a chance. And then that was the last birds I saw that day. Walked around, walked south to where they went, tried to find them, didn't locate them again, but frustrating.
That's turkey hunt.
Yep. So I have a couple questions for you guys. So I've never public land turkey hunt. So that's new experience for me. Obviously you guys applied as a group and got it. Did you guys run into anybody else out there? Turkey hunters, I should clarify that.
First day, I probably seen 4 or 5 trucks.
I didn't see any.
Yeah, I didn't run into anybody. I ran into a hiker. I ran into one hiker, but I didn't see any hunters.
That was Sunday that I ran into hikers.
Yeah, Sunday.
A dad and
Sundays when I ran into
and his
hiker.
daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no other hunters.
I didn't
at
see
all.
any other hunters the entire. I seen a few vehicles, but I didn't see any other hunters the whole time I was out.
Nobody's supposed to be out there anyways until after 1 o'clock.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Horseback riders and all that aren't supposed to be out there either.
Right.
Yeah. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Public land. Yeah. So everybody, for the most part, everybody knows for turkey hunting, things you need. You need your gun, you need your ammo, you need your decoys, you need whatever call you're going to have. One thing I'm curious about, because it is spring in Illinois, and if you're from Illinois or even from the Midwest, you know how spring is. One day it's 90 degrees, one day it's below 30. What was your guys' camping setup for each person? Kody, go ahead and start us out.
Yeah, go ahead, Kody.
So I rocked the Walmart special tent. I'm like, I'm not spending a lot of money. I said, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy doing this. So I went as cheap as possible. I said, I don't want to spend money on like a blow up air mat. I said, I'm just going to buy an air mattress. I said, they're $10 or $11 or whatever it was. And it's fantastic. That was dumb.
I wish they would have been that price when I went and looked for them.
I got it. I had an air mattress. I had it was supposed to be a 30-degree sleeping bag. It was a 30-degree survival limit.
Survival rating of 30 degrees.
Yeah,
Yes.
the comfort rating was 50.
Yeah, so that's one thing people to get wrong with sleeping bags a lot. If you get a 20-degree bag, you will survive at 20 degrees.
Yes.
It's it's like, yeah, it's not a comfortable thing.
No, I can attest to this very much so. So I had air mattress, and I had the sleeping bag, and then I just had a cheap tent. And,
You guys shared a tent, right?
We did
yeah,
share a tent.
We did share a tent.
We did. Not the same air mattress. though.
It wasn't. The tent was it said it sleeps 6 people.
Cody
but
probably wouldn't have been cold if you guys
see,
would have done that.
I was-
bet he would have
He
struggled.
See?
would have been a lot better off.
The 2 of us would not have fit on
Who would have
that.
been the big spoon?
Well, it's behind closed tents.
Okay. Sorry,
What
I didn't mean
happened
to pry.
was, yeah, we would have not a fit on a twin air mattress.
No.
There's no
No.
way,
No.
no possible way.
No.
No, I just kind of went cheaper route, and now knowing, and I did enjoy it, and I might actually invest some money into it and not freeze my butt off.
The tent do fine though.
The tent did well. It held up great. The air mattress did what it was supposed to. My sleeping bag, it's going in the burn pile, or being donated to some other cause.
Just wait till deer season. Maybe it'll be better deer season.
Absolutely not.
If you ever camp in the summer, it might-
Nope,
Yeah.
not happening.
Oh.
It pissed me off. It's going
You
away.
gotta get a 0-degree bag.
Yeah.
You're damn right.
Yeah. No, I bought a Ozark Trail like sleeping cot. It just folds up and whatnot.
That's the way to go.
It's neat. I mean, it's comfy. I had a 10-degree bag because I was like, "There's no way 30-degree bag is gonna do it." And I was like, "10 degrees, I'll be nice and toasty, perfect." I had that.
Might I add, it was 30 degrees in the mornings, 28 to 30
it was
degrees.
Oh.
Like,
it
first
was-
thing something like this is like Colorado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was 28, 30 degrees in the morning, so I was at my limit.
yeah. I think I had a
Hey,
battery.
you survived. They didn't lie.
He did.
Barely.
He did survive.
Yeah.
It did its
see?
job.
Barely.
Yeah, I had a comforter in the tent too.
He was
"I'm
laying
stealing."
on the damn
He goes,
thing.
"I'm gonna steal that tonight," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Take it," and he never does. I go in there, lay on it, and I'm fine.
Austin would have been happy with their camping choices.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Would have liked it a lot better.
Yeah.
Probably what we had.
Tried watching movies while we were
Should've
going to
said
bed.
Yeah.
No, I would if I could do it all over again, make one choice, my sleeping bag would have been different. The whole trip, I would have changed that for sure.
I think I would have changed the apparel I brought because
Yeah, you
I
didn't-
was freezing the whole weekend.
So
You heard of this brand called First Light?
I have. I have
yeah,
heard
oh,
about
good stuff.
Yeah, we have a problem.
it. Yeah, I've heard. I've heard some of the prices. And,
Don't tell
Hey,
my
it's
wife.
yeah.
It's worth every penny. And
We
I
don't need to mention anything.
No, I had planned for a spring turkey hunt, and
Yeah, it was 30.
the years I do hunt, usually it's pretty warm. So I've got, redhead gear with the True Timber HTC camo.
yeah, that's
and,
fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And I brought my midweight stuff the next day after we had their Easter stuff, and I got all my midweight gear. I was still freezing. I was like, I can't. I was like, I'll just put it all on. It's fine.
Yeah, and it was wet. It rained.
It was,
Oh,
yeah, it was miserable. That's the only thing I'd probably change.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Oh,
I'd say I think we talked about doing it again next year.
Oh, yeah,
third
yeah.
season.
Third
next
season.
year.
Yeah, we're
Third
gonna wait
season.
just another season over.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely want to go back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You do Colorado camping?
Yeah, I used the same tent I took to Colorado, the fly top 2-person tent, and I used my blow up sleeping pad and my zero degree hiking bike mummy sleeping bag.
Yeah.
But
His tent was cooler, anyways.
It was a
had
lot
a back
better.
door.
So I wasn't,
He didn't have to get out very
I
often.
had to, yeah. I don't have to get. I don't have to get up to go to the bathroom in the
No,
morning.
no,
I
he
just
just-
gotta turn. So you stay a lot warmer.
He's
but,
sitting there
yeah.
bragging about it because we got to get out to go to the back.
Well, I'm happy you guys had a good time. So I did want to bring this up mainly because I knew Cody's here, and Kyle's, I would say, is almost as bad as Kody and I, but Kody and I are really bad. Have you seen First Light's new waterfowl stuff?
Yes. And
They're going to take your money too?
I'm geeking over it. I am trying to.
And the new Omen.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say that. I seen that, and I said, "Wife, this is what I want for my birthday. I want this."
But
First Light. First Light hit us up.
Yes, please. I have a problem
You're
and I need your help.
We don't like you're saving a marriage if you hit us up, okay? Like
Multiple.
2 marriages, because then we can say, hey, well, at least we get a discount, or hey, they threw in a free hat, whatever.
Oh, hell, free hat to go a long ways.
So
Yeah. You don't even waterfowl hunt that much. I don't even know why you need it.
That's beside the point.
Yeah.
I'll start going the more than
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause then you're invested.
exactly. I
True.
have to.
It's true.
You just give me your other waterfowl coat and we'll talk about it.
Okay, so when Kyle came on the last podcast, he kind of talked about his future plans for the 2022 season. Possibly elk, deer hunt, and so forth. I've talked about my 22 season in the future. What's your plan, and then what's your plan for the rest of the year?
So my first plan is to get my foot fixed. It's broken at the moment. As soon as I get that done,
I've been there. I've done that.
Take care of some tree stands. I got to get some tree stands moved around. I want to get some things set up so I'm not scrambling last minute to do it.
Like every year.
Like every year, I want to get ahead of it and stay ahead of it this year. But
Never happens.
yeah, it never
No.
does.
No,
You
it
always
doesn't.
figure that one thing you need to do. But my plan is to, on my lease, I want to get a food plot put out, get some screening and stuff done, and get that done. There's some stands. I walked it shed hunting, and I got a better idea of where they're coming in and leaving the property. So I want to get that taken care of, get stands hung, and get out of there to let it cool down and get the food plot planted. And then my main goal for this year is I want to do some more public land hunting. First couple weeks of the season, I want to try to put a couple does on the ground, especially at the price of meat right now. I want to put a doe or 2 down. I know Ronnie and I drew public land tags for shotgun season, so we're going to go to a site unnamed place and try to get the job done. We got a buck and a doe tag down there. So,
Yeah, we also got another buddy going with
yep,
us.
we got 3 of us going on that deal.
You want to film it?
Yeah, we're going to.
Some of us are, right?
Yeah.
Cameras are expensive.
You get a hold of me ahead of time, I'll send you with one.
Okay.
So,
Give you some good footage of,
Well,
yeah, him
of not
picking-
missing.
I have to send you. You're the only one.
No kidding.
Hey, deer hunting's a little different.
Oh, I don't know.
So yeah, we're my plan is to put a couple does in the freezer early, and then just kind of enjoy it. I want to take my kids out more. I want to get them more. Hunter's been begging me to go out. I want to get him involved and get him going some more. Maybe get a hunter safety course done and get him one with my crossbow. Maybe try to get that done this year. But I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna quit worrying about what to shoot, and I'm gonna quit worrying about the hustle and everything. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna enjoy it more, and I'm gonna have fun.
Or so he says. This year, I've got the farm to go to. I've got our lake property we need to finish working on. We got some trees to finish cutting up from the food plot we made last season. Right now, it's just a nice, good cover for them around it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We had one of our friends this last season. He killed a nice one out of there. And I got a few bucks I'm going to be watching this year. Hopefully the others show back up. Might look into some new hunting gear.
First light.
Maybe some first light.
I'll let you borrow mine, and then you won't want to give it back. I assure you.
Well, I've got that late winter gear you just gave me last year.
It's good stuff too. but
Man,
it's
that
not
is
the
nice
same.
and warm. First light's going to be a pretty big price tag. I've still got a wedding to pay for. And
That's beside the point.
Yeah, that's also in October.
That'll be all right.
Who planned that?
Exactly. That's what I said.
At least it's early enough, It's in
Yeah.
the October lull. I ain't too worried about it. It's real slow for me usually.
Alrighty, well, guys, we are knocking on the hour mark. So I've watched most of the footage from you guys' turkey hunt. Obviously, I just got some footage today I got to go through. I think I can put together a pretty good episode. I'm almost done with this last hog episode, and then your turkey videos next.
Awesome.
So I'm hoping that'll be out here in a couple weeks. We have pictures of Ronnie's bird.
Yeah.
So it will be on there.
Yeah.
And then we have some nice B-roll and sounds like misses from you guys.
I got some birds on film. I got some
you
live
did.
birds.
Oh yeah, you did
in
get some
the
live birds.
wild.
Yes, I've seen them.
Beautiful
They look nice.
things.
You have live birds.
I got
so they
live
are
birds
real.
too.
Yep,
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dead trees.
I think I can put a good story together, and I think it's awesome because honestly, it just seems like public land turkey hunting in Illinois is not that popular. I know I saw the hunting public finally came to Illinois last year. I don't think they came this year.
No,
It's this year.
It is?
I hadn't watched it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I know they
There
did,
was some
and I think they were in
down south, I
southern
think.
Illinois.
Yeah, they get,
That
they
doesn't
get
surprise
one
me.
bird, I think, and they hunted hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It
It's
is.
public land hunting's hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I know my brother, not this last season, but the season prior, he took somebody else to some public land in Central Illinois. And they got lucky and killed on the first day, but like it was empty. Same thing, and they
Yep.
didn't run in. And you know, you guys were in Central Illinois and didn't run into that much. And you know, it's one of those things. Like it's awesome. Like it's good. It's not super busy, and you don't want to get too crowded.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I don't think a lot of times I think Illinois goes overlooked.
I agree.
On that public land. And I know where you guys are hunting at, and I know not only do turkeys get killed, but some big bucks get killed. So hopefully you guys do some slaying this year.
Plan.
You have to
Hopefully we
join
all
us
do.
out there.
Yep, and definitely have you guys back on. Hopefully over some more beers and talk about our successes. No more trees, Cody. So, but other than that, guys, appreciate you on. That was podcast 41. Appreciate all the support, guys. One thing to talk about before we end it. We are now over 300 subscribers on YouTube. Big jump here. We've had over almost 150 jump in the last couple weeks, which is YouTube's like the hardest one to grow for me right now. So it's awesome to see that. You know, the goal is to get to 1,000. It's a big goal for most YouTubers to hit that. And we had a view that is knocking on 50K. We're not quite there yet. We're like 47, I think, thousand on one of the hog hunting videos. The other video is doing good, and the next hog hunting video with majority of the kills are on there. So that'll be coming here soon. Appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you.